Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour. What was that look for, Earl? This is a show brought to you by ServiceNow. We are in a giddy mood today. I tell you, there were some shenanigans going on before the broadcast started. Yeah, something like that. Well, Live Coding Happy Hour is the show where we show you something new on the platform. We try to accomplish a goal, whatever it takes, but it is not rehearsed. It is not polished. It is not a pre-recorded demo. It is raw, uncut footage of us showing you the thought process, the bumped elbows, the skin knees, the bloody noses. I might be getting a little graphic here, but you get the idea. We're going to do something fun today, but before we do that, let's do our introductions, starting with Lauren.
Hey, everybody. My name is Lauren McManaman. I am a senior developer advocate. I've been at ServiceNow nearly 6 years, and prior to that was a customer just like you. So great to be here. I'll be the one driving the demo today, so give me a little bit of grace as we are in the middle of CreatorCon planning as well. So it's been a, like Chuck kind of preluded, it's been a wild week. So a true live coding happy hour. And I'll toss it down to Earl.
Hi, everyone. I am Earl Duque. I am a developer advocate here with the rest of my colleagues here at ServiceNow. I've been with ServiceNow for a couple of years, but before that was doing development for different customers using ServiceNow, mostly in the higher ed sector, but all over the place. I became more active in the community by making weird stuff. So this show is always near and dear to my heart. Chuck.
And my name is Chuck Tabasi, senior developer advocate at ServiceNow. Hey, we all have the same title. Oh, neat. Cool. And I have been with ServiceNow since mid-2010, was a customer for a couple of years before that, and have a long, long history going back to, well, when Leonardo da Vinci and I were working on tables. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we have a lot of history in this group, a lot of diverse backgrounds, and we bring that to you the best we can. Next up, let's go around and let people know, per live coding happy hour tradition, what our beverage of choice is today.
Well, I'm not too exciting today. I'm just drinking Diet Pepsi. I'm just trying to keep it a little bit more even keeled with knowledge right around the corner. So keeping it nice and consistent today with Pepsi.
Good.
For me, it's just a little bit left, but I'm finishing off my last bit of my Hyde single malt Irish whiskey. It's a number 7 6-year-old whiskey. It's my last bit, my favorite one. So
is that as dark as it looks, or was that just shining through your shirt or something?
I think it's just shining through my shirt.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just my last bit. Because it is our end of content for the Utah calendar. I forgot to put that little thing up there. But remember, we are in Utah content, so make sure to check out everything that we've done for Utah, and you can get to that via devlink.sn/Utah.
Working on it. He's the producer today.
There it is. It's been a bit. It's been a minute. devlink.sn/Utah. Check it out. That's where all of our Utah content is, and we're rounding out the season. Chuck, what about your drink?
Oh man, we're gonna have to come up with the short link for Vancouver real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Nice thing is we don't have to ask anyone for artwork this time. We already have it. I am practicing my 2023, one of my 2023 goals, and that is to have the sober month of each. The first month of each quarter is sober. So January, April, July, and October. No drinky for me. But what I do have is just some LaCroix sparkling water.
Nice.
That'll do. It'll get us
That'll
through
do.
this thing in record time. Looking at a bunch of people that are joining us in the chat. If you are around for our live streaming, we typically do these on Friday. But if you know what, if you go to our website, devlink.sn/Utah, you can find out when we're doing these. Do the subscription and you know what to do. You get the alerts. Seeing some familiar names. We've got some regulars out there having a good time in the chat. We'll put those up as we go. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren. There it is.
Oh, perfect.
It's going to be a grand show. We're off to a wonderful start.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks, guys. It's one of those weeks. Well,
once upon a time, I used to get dinged on my performance appraisals for not being professional, and now it's part of my job.
It's like my whole MO, though. Like, you are. I mean, that's why we have the team, right?
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, what are we up to today besides these kind of crazy shenanigans?
I can only tap dance for so long. So, and if y'all have been really keen on the weekly calendar announcements and things like that, you might have seen this live stream scheduled twice prior to today. A couple of little mini family emergencies popped up to prevent us from doing it back then. So it's finally happening, which is really, really exciting. And today we are talking about the Workspace Builder, probably one of the most anticipated aspects of the Utah release. So what a nice thing for it to be the way to kind of finalize our Utah content. Like we said, this is the last thing that we have planned for the Utah content calendar. That isn't to say there's tons of stuff relating to Utah coming out for knowledge, obviously. But as far as this goes, this is our last hurrah into Utah. So with that being said, I will dive straight into things. Let me get my monitors switched around a little bit. There we go. So today we're talking about Workspace Builder. So if you haven't really heard about Workspace Builder up until this point, it is the place where we are trying to meet people halfway as far as technical competency is concerned for UIB. UI Builder or UIB has been the cornerstone of the next experience ever since it's come out, right? It's the place where you're designing these really beautiful, modern looking experiences. But I think everyone would agree that that is a very pro-codey feature. It follows the pathway that a lot of ServiceNow functionality does, right? We release it in a pro-code fashion and we massage it into a way where it is a both pro and low and no code facet. And Workspace Builder is by far the first big stab at that. So I figured today it can be pretty loosey-goosey because in live coding happy hour fashion, this is not really rehearsed at all. So forgive any amount of friction on my part. That'll be totally my bad. So as always, I like to use PDIs. PDIs are great. If you don't have a PDI, get one today. That is a personal developer instance. They are free. It is a place where no matter if your business is on N-1 or N-2, or God forbid N-3, you can still get a Utah instance for you to play around with. There might be a little bit of a waiting list because there's a lot of interest, but you will get one eventually. Now, on App Engine Studio, I'm just going to go ahead and pop that guy up right now.
Can you okay, perfect. Okay. Oh. I took the screen off because that first URL might have a credential on it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, man. Well, there you go. True live coding. Got to nuke the VOD. No, I'm just kidding. So nothing really to see here. It's just the standard App Engine Studio view, which is where we will be accessing Workspace Builder. If you've got a keen eye, you might see something that gives you a little bit of a hint, maybe about the theme for the theme for old Builder track at Knowledge, but I'll kind of skip past that. So this Sake sampler app is something that I've been playing around with for a little bit. So I figured it might be a nice place to kind of experiment with the Workspace Builder. So This was a lot more relevant when when we were talking about the Tokyo release. But I've been training as a sake sommelier. There's a different title for it. It's called a Kiki Sake Shi. But basically, we have to make a lot of reviews. That's kind of how you develop your palate, is you sample a bunch of stuff, you write down a bunch of notes. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do in America because there's not a lot of sake at restaurant or sake at grocery stores. So you're bringing these like notebooks to restaurants, and it's just kind of a pain. So I was like, oh, it'd be a great ServiceNow app. But there's not a really good way for me to see all my reviews or see the types of data and stuff from what I've sampled already. So we can actually construct a workspace to help us do that. So from App Engine Studio, you access the Workspace Builder as you would for any new experience. So similar if you were building something for the portal, whether you are building something from the mobile environment. But today we are going to be building a workspace.
I love how we have more icons on there because when AES first came out, we had like one tile.
I know.
Tiles. And I was like, we're up to 4. It's like more stuff to be added. It's starting to look a little more fleshed out now.
It's looking a little more fleshed out. I'm praying for the day they go to like, I don't know, our current branding, but one step at a time. I'll take tiles over colors any day.
I actually heard, was it Service Patch, Utah Patch 2 has the new coloration on it.
Bingo. Thank you for taking the bait. So that's stuff that's coming out pretty soon.
It was inspired because of a comment that CJ Desai made at our sales kickoff earlier this year. I think some product managers got shamed.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I think when did we change our colors? Over a year and a half ago, I think.
January of 2022 is when we went to the new color scheme.
Yeah.
I know because I had to order the new tie really fast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Good point.
Lauren, is that toggle on the bottom left part of AES, or is that your computer?
Yes, it is.
This guy?
Oh, I wasn't used to seeing that. Never mind.
Yeah. So this kind of goes back to the whole principle of like, because when AES came out, one of its biggest attributes was the fact that you didn't have to go through in like a very prescriptive order, like guided app creator. A guided app creator is like you had to do data, and then you had to do experience, and then you had to do automation. And this one lets you kind of pick around as long as you're not in just like the standard view. It's kind of nice, kind of fun. So we'll go ahead and begin our experience and see what we've got. I'll leave it as the sake sampler. I think I've already used that URL, so it'll be the sake sampler too, as far as URL is concerned. And this is where you can start doing some basic configuration on roles. So if this was like an admin dashboard or a fulfiller dashboard that you didn't want requesters to have access to, you can start making those selections from the beginning. So as long as we do that, it will bring in all of the tables that you've constructed in the app thus far. So for example, the first table I made was a sake table. And so it's making its best guess of what the primary table for this workspace will be. However, it is not correct. If anything, if I'm reviewing sake, I don't want my primary table to be just the sake one. I'd like it to be my review table. So I can go ahead and change that up here. And then I can see that it actually automatically removed it from the list of secondary tables, which is nice. So I can go ahead and add it back to my secondary table. The difference between the two is that primary table is the default for like the home page and the default for everything that's listed. But secondary tables will also be accessible from the list view as well. So it's kind of building those in from the get-go. We'll wait a couple of seconds. So how experienced, Chuck and Earl, are you with UIB and Workspace Builder thus far?
I've seen demos.
I've done a lot of stuff in App Engine Studio. UI Builder is still I even put it in my personal goals last year to learn more UI Builder. So I need to jump in, especially because I love the UI stuff. I love any portal looking stuff. So not so much experience, but I've been dabbling. Plus, plug for the other show, UI Builder is meant to be an every other week show, but it returns next week on Thursday. So check that out.
It is a phenom too. It's a really, really exciting show. I'm glad you've spearheaded it because not only is it fun, but extremely informative. So I've been loving it thus far.
And I'm glad.
Brad and Gabby.
I'm one of the people that are really looking forward to Workspace Builder to help me get over that hump of the learning curve for UI Builder. It's like I still got to be able to produce some minimal viable product, and I'm hoping Workspace Builder will get me there.
Well, that's the nice thing too, is that it takes a lot from App Engine Studio to help people learn like the basic language and the basic things like that. Because not only, it walks people through of like, okay, what is Workspace Builder? Obviously, you can kind of skip through those things, but it's a lot more prescriptive. I do see one question in the chat that I wanted to address, which is why is the PDI time to open like a waitlist? So why are we waitlisting those PDIs currently? It's because they're a finite resource. There's a lot of interest in Utah, especially as people are not only preparing for labs, but also building labs. And so there's a lot of interest, but it's going pretty quickly, I will say, from what I've heard from a couple of my customers. So add yourself into the wait list. I believe also if you get one in a earlier version, fact check me on this, guys, but if you can also maybe kind of cut the wait list if you upgrade, right?
That's correct. It's a separate queue. So if you go for an older version, there is no wait list, and then you can upgrade later if you want.
Great. So I guess the short answer is get a Tokyo one, upgrade it, and that's probably going to be the fastest way to get one currently. Cool. So welcome to Workspace Builder. As you can see, this looks very similar to UIB, but a lot more approachable. So essentially what it does is it builds a kind of demo off of the primary table that you provided, as well as the lists for the secondary table that you provided, and allows you to configure them from here. So for example, right now we are in editing mode. As you can see, everything has kind of like a little box around it that is not going to be permanent when you render this as a preview. That is just so that you have the flexibility to configure this workspace. One thing that you can add is headers, right? So you could add little text boxes that kind of make your reports and your dashboards a lot more sensible for whomever might be looking at them. So that is step one. Step two is that it provides data visualization. So it's kind of taking its first attempt at some data visualizations that would be helpful to us. If any of you want to configure them, you can click these little ellipses. I can't zoom in much farther without really distorting the screen. So if you can read that.
Do you have a trackpad?
What?
Do you have a trackpad on your computer?
No.
Oh, okay.
Was that like a mouse?
No, like on a laptop, you'd have the touchpad, the trackpad from.
Oh, I'm not demoing from a laptop. Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
Would that change things?
No, you can do a pinch zoom on the browser.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. Did not know that. No, I'm demoing from a desktop, sadly.
But I thought if you could do like control mouse wheel or something, you could do that on a mouse too. Just curious. It's a very helpful thing when you want to zoom in on a browser.
Interesting. All right. Good
We'll
to know.
discuss offline and figure it out.
Yeah, no worries. So clicking the little ellipses basically opens up the configure panel here for anything you have on your screen. So once you're in editing mode and once you start editing and configuring your little boxes, this will stay persistent throughout. So you don't have to keep clicking in to change them. So that is how things currently look. And you can see in the list view as well. This is where you can start filtering your list. So for example, if you didn't want people to see everyone's reviews, maybe if you wanted to add a filter so you just see your reviews or the sake from prefectures that you've tasted, that's where you can start building this experience for whomever might be looking at it. But so from looking at this screen, this doesn't really make sense to me. So if I'm the sake reviewer in this circumstance, the term task and tasks itself don't really make sense to me. So it's probably best to start changing those up a bit. Now, as a little refresher, because I didn't really showcase this yet, a fun fact, a couple of you might have seen this from another video I made. It's a kind of a limited audience. So if you've seen those, shout out to those couple of people. But regardless, so for a sake review, let's see the fields that might be helpful for reporting on. So similar to the United States having states, Japan has prefecture. So maybe we'd like to kind of taste something from every prefecture. Possibly we also want to narrow this down just to reviews that I myself have been making. or maybe see like, how are things on a scale from 1 to 5? What's my preference? What type of reviews might be helpful to me in those circumstances? So those are just some things to think about when we're creating our workspace. Now, let's start with this one, my tasks. So again, doesn't really ring any bells for me, but that doesn't mean we have to start from scratch. So for example, we can see that this is a data visualization, which are one of the types of things that you can add from Workspace Builder. If you'd like to see the different types of things, we have our dial, our gauges, we have all of our time series and bar charts, a multi-dimensional like pivot tables, donuts, pretty much vastly everything that is listed in the standard reporting tool can be turned into a visualization here as well. Now, I think just to see, let's start off simple and just do a nice aggregate of all of the reviews that I have done. So currently you can see we're actually already doing that. It says right now the data source for this is off of our sake review. And the filter, if we look, if it'll load for me.
Demo time.
Really?
This is a good time to remind people to register for knowledge.
I have a link for that too. Hey.
Hey.
The catalog is live. Go favorite your stuff. The agenda builder is scheduled to go live on the 18th, Tuesday the 18th. Keep your eyes out. Okay, we're back.
Are we?
Well, I don't know. What are you doing?
I had to refresh. Forgive me. Oh, where'd the other ones go?
The other one's what?
The other 2 reports.
Oh no!
Yay.
Your widgets.
Live coding happy hour. We're getting into
Put
it.
them back in.
Oh, they're down here. They took a little trip.
Yeet.
Okay. Now the challenge is let's see if we can put them back.
Well, this is a great example of how you can drag and drop. Sorry, this is cracking me up. So you can resize any reports and any data visualizations. So I wanted to move this back up top after its little migration. I can do so. So I can kind of move
south for the winner.
back to where it was.
Oh,
Oh,
Brad's
look,
got a good
Brad's in
time.
the show. Oh gosh,
No.
not the
The nice thing about
pro.
the data viz component is that your configuration interface is the same. Once you get the one you get when you use the platform analytics workspace to build inline dashboards. Oh, very nice. Consistency. Who would have thought about it?
Do love that. Okay, so now we're back to where we were after it took a little trip. So we're going to go ahead and open up our tasks. We're going to configure those. It's a single score. I currently want to, let's go ahead and edit this. So right now it's saying that it's currently filtering reviews to ones where active is true, and I think assigned to me.
Yeah.
But I would like to edit this filter. Please don't die a second time.
Possible bug?
Possible,
We're still
Brad.
using an early release? I don't know.
Shout out to Brad, baby. Woo! Brad in the chat. Take that down as a little note.
Brad's also admitting he doesn't know much about Workspace Builder.
Oh, that's right, because he works on the on UIB. My apologies.
He's hardcore. We're just like Tinker Toys at this point. No,
There goes.
Workspace Builder is great stuff.
Okay, third time's a charm. Let's see if we can just delete it.
Fool me 3 or more times, shame on me.
Let's delete this and create a new visualization.
That could be. That was an original thing with UI Builder too. It's like when you went to modify existing workspaces originally, it didn't work really well.
So let's talk about what types of elements are available also in Workspace Builder. So we also have the ability to filter, so you can create filters that impact other visualizations on the page. We can see we're already taking use of things like heading, so these nice things that help keep things organized. You can actually also embed images and text as well to kind of further enhance. So I know that some people want like a screenshot of such and such diagram on the screen. You can do that, as well as other simple lists like how we're seeing below. So let's create a new data visualization. We are going to stretch it out a little bit. We're also going to move it next to the ones up top. We can see it currently has no content available. So we need to add a data source. So right now we are going to click add data source. It's going to suggest the ones that are built into our workspace already. So it's suggesting our primary table. We could not find any predefined conditions. So you can actually save filters to be added, but we are going to add the custom filter of.
Uh-oh. I think we found the problem. It's the
Gray
condition
block.
builder.
Okay, fair enough.
It doesn't want you to drink filtered sake.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it says nigori only or nigiri only. No, nigori. I always get those two mixed up. One's a type of sushi and the other's a type of sake.
And one is Voldemort's snake.
Let's exit editing mode. That's nagini.
Try to keep up.
Okay, so let's save. One person in the chat suggested maybe saving it and then re-entering into it. So let's try that. So I saved it. 4th time's a charm. I really would like to do a filtered. Let's try one more. Okay. And then we are going to edit. No, that's just a bug, boys and girls. Well, great. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, girl. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
It's got a counter.
You know what? Fine. No filtered stuff for us.
We gotta make a scoreboard feature on StreamYard.
Oh my God. Yeah. Nice little when I was doing some fun YouTube videos on my own, I was doing reaction videos to like musicals, and I would always have a cry counter because I'm a sap and I cry at everything. So we might need the cry counter today if I get another great block of death. No, I'm just messing. All right. So let's go ahead and configure something other than the filter then. Let's go ahead and change the header, because currently the header is saying my task, which isn't that accurate. Currently it's already filtering it down to ones assigned to me, I guess. So I can just call this my reviews, which is fine. If it's longer, you can also have things wrap, and you can choose whether or not to show the border of the block itself. There's a lot of things you can actually configure from Workspace Builder, which is nice. I think a lot of people had the preconceived notion that it would be a much more simplistic view just in general, but it's actually comprises a tremendous amount of things that are also built into UIB. So for example, you could add in specific things like the metric label. So how many reviews, if that was helpful. You can show what time it was last updated. So if this was a really pertinent thing that you wanted to ensure was always the most newest amount of data, that can be done. You can also show whether or not you would like this to be a drillable report, which is nice. So if you want to kind of lock it in and have it just kind of be an image, you can. If you want to enable the drill down to see the data set that makes up that 8, you can. And also turn on real-time updates. So if this is the most important to have real-time data, you can have it auto done on any certain save. Presentation-wise, you can also configure some settings as well. So if you'd like to kind of make it really nice and big for some people, if that's like the most important metric you've got, you can change the size with just a drag of a button. The icon itself. So if you want to kind of change a couple of those, or the colors with or without a background, those are some filters that
Big and red and important. Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff here.
All the fun stuff. This is also where you can start adding in dynamic coloring. This is really important usually for single scores like this. Like, hey, if it's over X or over Y, that needs to be a bright red, big bad problem. That's also where you can configure stuff like that.
Or it's under a value. We're running low on sake.
Yeah, we're running low on sake. Lauren, you have not done a single review in a week. That's something that's a problem. So you could have those types of things saved. When I was testing this out, one thing I wanted to do was create a, which one is the one where it's like a, if I'm on camera right now, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like a half circle.
A donut.
No, not the full.
Oh, the semi-donut, semicircle, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like a semicircle. It shows a percentage.
Yeah.
Because I thought, can someone Google for me how many prefectures there are in Japan? I think there are either 40 something or 50 something. I think it's 47. I think 47. Because I thought, oh, we could do a filter of how many of those 47 that I've sampled thus far, according to the data. So
Japan has 47 prefectures.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. That's because that type of stuff's on the test. That's good to know.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Oh, really? Nice.
Star Trek fans will recognize and remember that number too. So good for you.
Nice. So data visualization. So we're going to add a new one. Again, we're not going to do a single score this time. This time we are going to do a dial. Ooh, it's called a dial, boys and girls. We are going, oh goodness, we're going to add a data source.
Just add the whole thing.
The data source is going to be a review without a filter. We don't need a filter. We're just going to assume I'm only using this app. It does not matter. And then we are going to filter this. So basically it needs to count the unique instances of a prefecture appearing. And the prefecture is a field on the sake. So in this case, Tears of Dawn is from a certain brand that is located in, I think Tears of Dawn is from Kyoto. So Kyoto in that case. So our review count here. And then we need to start building our metric, I believe. So in this case, we added our data source as a review. So right now it's just counting the number of reviews, which is not that helpful. So we need to configure the metric, and that would be this guy. Okay, so currently we can give it a label. So unique prefectures. We're going to count, not sum. It might be count distinct, but let's start with count. I'm not quite sure yet. That's half the fun. And I guess
count distinct is really handy.
Yes.
If you have duplicates or whatever it is, I can't tell you how painful that is if you don't have it.
So maybe it is count distinct. So let's try. So right now it's saying, hey, which are we counting distinct? Are we counting the distinct reviewers? Are we counting the distinct types of sake? No, we are counting not the types of sake, not the brands of sake, but the prefectures. And I did learn this when I was playing around with this. You actually have to select sys ID. You can't just stop at prefecture and click apply.
That's a good note.
So currently it says I've only sampled from 4 unique prefectures. I don't remember if that's true or not. So let's go back to the data.
Trust and verify.
Just to verify. So I'm going to quickly add in, where is it?
You're going to have to configure list layout to dot walk.
Yeah, list layout. We're going to do sake. We're going to do brand. We're going to do prefecture, and then we're going to group by prefecture. And if it's 4, we are golden today, boys and girls. Let's see. Okie dokie. Prefecture. We're going to group by prefecture. And we got 4. Okay. Very cool.
That's a good way to, verify what's going on is, check it out from the list. Does the real data agree with what you put on this report? Because sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, what does this one say 16 and the other one says 4? And it could be, you didn't dot walk properly on one side or the other. So make sure. It never hurts to validate what your reports are telling you. Is this the other thing is it clickable? I mean, can you drill into the data there like you can on a real report? Obviously, we're editing right now, so you'd have to save it and exit edit mode and whatnot.
Also, that's a good thing to remember too, is like, we could have accidentally used count. And if we used count, we would still have or some. So cool. But this also, if I'm just a sampler, this number means nothing to me, especially because it's out of 100. It needs to be out of 47. So we need to configure that as well. So let's first of all give it a better title. I don't really like the title as just being nothing. So I can say prefectures sampled. We'll give it that. We could give it a description. I don't really see the need for one, but I believe what we need to change is under additional settings. Or not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's under presentation.
We're looking. We're looking.
We're not. There we go. Okay, max value. So in this case, the max value should not be 100, which is the default. It should be 47. Bingo. There we go.
Ooh.
Because there's 47 prefectures. Okay.
Right. And that's not something that's dynamic, at least not at this point, unless someone invents another one.
Yeah. We can also still change the size. We can change the inner radius.
Wait, was the max value blank or 100 before?
It was
It
blank.
was blank. We defaulted to 100. The inner radius is going to change the thickness of that dial.
I would have thought that if they left it blank, it max value would have figured. Well, I guess it would always be the same number. I don't know. Never mind.
Oh, okay, that's funny. You can make it like a big chunk or one.
Yep.
Oh wait, no, you can't.
I guess it has a minimum value. Click the help icon next to the label. The I. What does it say?
Oh, there we
There you
go. Allowed for that's a very interesting span of values. 0.7 to 0.95 only.
That's pretty precise.
That is very precise. It looks like Brad says it could be dynamic in UIB if you need it to be.
Sure. If you instead of 47 being hard coded, so
True.
plug for the big brother.
Yeah, and I will say they do plug it also right here. So if while
open
you're
in UI Builder, look at that.
Yeah, if you're editing and you find yourself at a limit, right, you can always just choose to open it in UI Builder, and it'll still keep you in AES, I believe. It just opens it in a nice
Kind of the AES way.
Brad even mentioned that now that we're concluding the season of Utah content, maybe taking some of these things that you're making in Workspace Builder and do further live coding happy hours as we take it into UI Builder. With him driving the building of it. He said that was as an idea, and I'm telling it as a commitment.
I like that. That's a good idea.
I'm volunteering you.
Thanks, Brad, for volunteering for additional 7 episodes.
Yeah, yeah, no pressure.
By knowledge, we want them by May 17th.
Oh gosh. So I'm going to drag this puppy up here so that we have a really nice looking thing. Definitely not a cluttered mess at the moment. We're going to delete these guys just to get them out of here. Currently don't know why.
Work with your designers, people.
Yeah. Oh, so you can even build in spaces in between. That's kind of nice to know that like you don't have to, it doesn't all have, you know how like in the forms themselves there's never any spaces in between. You could always, if you wanted to, I guess, spread it out more. Kind of nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. Don't really see the name for that one. One thing I do want to change this header to is just to say like my reviews. We'll just call this my reviews level. I wonder, so header secondary, header primary. Okay, that's indicative of size, but what does level mean? Level 3. Oh, we could click the I and find out what that means. Define the HTML HX heading element used to render the label. Well, then question, how is that different from style? The silence is bone chilling. It's interesting, right? To have style, which not only implies the HTML element, but how it looks, but also have the level, which only pertains to the HTML element and seemingly not the looks.
I don't know what HX is.
Like header, like H1 tag or H2
Oh,
tag.
that's what it means.
I think. I'm not sure.
That's what I would assume as well.
Curious.
I'm guessing one applies to the other. I don't know. Can you mess around with it and see what happens?
It didn't do nothing. It just makes it change there.
Maybe level doesn't apply to all of the other one. It only applies to some of the styles.
Possibly. It's a good little question for me to.
Can you put multiple lines inside of the text and see what happens? Well, you can't put multiple.
Oh, let's try that maybe. Oh, hang on. We'll do.
In the label, yeah. Make a really long string. See if that does anything. Make sure to put a space or 2 in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, criminy. Okay.
Okay, now play with the stuff.
Huh.
Well, still doesn't do it. Wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the level thing just...
The level doesn't seem to do anything.
Huh. Interesting. Well, my reviews it is. My reviews as a header primary, and there we go.
Maybe it went the same place as the filter builder or the condition builder.
Yeah.
That says you have to click out of the level, but I think you were doing that.
I think I was.
I thought you were doing that. You
go
back to it and
getting called out by the main guy. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we don't invite Brad to live coding happy hour. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing.
He's just our heckler. He's just going boo.
This is when Brad goes, that's actually configurable in UI Builder.
Well, that's a great advertisement for UI. That's a great advertisement for UI Builder. Cool. Okay, so we've got a pretty simple little layout here. I was a kind of shot in the foot by not being able to edit the filter, which was what I had kind of planned on doing. So this is the simple how we can edit the lists as well. So you can see right here that by default, it just created a simple list for it. So maybe we can configure the list layout a bit. Because these aren't the most helpful columns for me because A, they're all reviewed by me. B, I don't really give a crap about the number. I'd rather see the actual review and I can only see what I thought the taste was like, not the smell or overall fave. So let's go ahead and add some columns. So you can see in the default display, we can add a pre-selected amount of columns. So let's start off with, let's do the sake. So we'll start with the sake first. Or not. Oh, yes. So the sake first. Then we'll go ahead and we will add, I'd like to add the brand as well. I think that would be helpful. So that's a field in the sake. There's actually a lot of really nice, the most data actually is in the sake table. There's a lot we could bring in. Let's keep it with brand.
Is that going to bring in the display value, or do you have to dot walk to like the brand dot name or something?
I think it's okay with just the display. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, good.
And then because we're capped at 5 fields, then I will bring in the smell, taste, and overall ratings. There we go. I'm not sure what the limit is for the amount of fields in this simple list, but let's see if it's linked here. For example, if a view adds 15 columns, you can display the first 5. This property will also be manually selected for so if your view has too many columns, you can pare down to a manageable size. Okay.
No scroll bars. Yay.
But we can change the maximum number of rows as well. So if we wanted more than 5, we could do that. So if we wanted to say 10, since I've only reviewed 8.
Which may be necessary if you have just like this one, a series of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You may want more than 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. You can include a couple of more hard codey things still. I would what would you say? This is probably the most technical piece in AES, right? Even though it's still a lot more simplified version of UIB, it's still probably the most technical thing aside from maybe Action Designer.
I mean, you're referencing something that could be incredibly complex too.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that we should try adding to our workspace today? I mean, we could add a tab. Tabs are just basically a copy and paste from whatever you'd like to do here and just creates another section. So if you had different types of personas that might be working out of your workspace, or maybe different types of work that they were performing, you could kind of organize their work better. Because typically, right, what's the best? So here's a great question, especially if Brad is still online. What is the best practice for designing a workspace? Should you just create one and have it be anything that's on the screen? If it's too longer than that, it should be an extra tab. Or should you kind of contain it to one screen and expect the person to scroll?
We'll give them a few seconds because there's a latency to what the viewers see.
True.
What else is under add new element?
Add new element. So we could add in a library. We could add in more filtered content, images. So if I wanted to put in a picture of Bo or something on the screen, or maybe like the label of the sake I was reading or something about, you could do that.
Okay, because I know a couple of things that jump to mind real quick. You have a list of reviews and you have a couple of data visualizations.
Mhm.
Are those clickable? Because that's one of the things in UI Builder that you need to hook up.
Mhm.
For Workspace dashboard, it would be the same as any other dashboard, I would think. More tabs and less scrolling. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like that. So we can actually preview our dashboard. So one of the things we haven't done, I just click the preview button here and it opens up what our workspace will be like. So we can see how clickable things are. So for example, if I see my reviews as 8, it'll take me to the standard view of all of my reviews, where I could kind of click into one of them in particular and see what's really going on. If I wanted to go into the 4 prefectures, it does not group them. So that might be a nice step too. When you click into it, it takes you to a grouped version of that list. I think that might be kind of cool. If you click on the specific brand, it'll take you into all the information there because it's a related field.
So it's as expected at this point.
Yeah. And then as far as our lists go, not our list, but our lists. There they are. They were hiding from me. Then we have all of our lists here as well. So those would be the list of the secondary and primary table we provided and any filtered versions of those. So if we had added extra from Workspace Builder, they'd be available from there as well.
Can you make another gray block show up?
I can. Would it make you happy? So we can get to 5 and nice.
I told Adela that I would finish my drink if you got to 5.
Okay, fair enough.
Clearing the cache.
Yeah. So if I go here and click configure, well, maybe not that one. Let's see. Edit fixed filter. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That's a modal, though. I don't think that's where you went before.
No, that's
No,
not
I was hoping I could do it from a different screen.
It was in here.
Yeah. I swear to God, if it loads now.
There it is.
Hey, there it is. Hold on. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Yeah, bottoms up.
Yay.
Man. Oh, too fun. Well, can't be perfect. It wouldn't be fun if it was perfect, you know?
It would be software if it worked.
So in the comments down below, leave some helpful criticism that maybe Gabby and Brad could take out and make this dashboard a lot better in an upcoming You and I builder. So they can really show you not only the power of of delegating work, right? That's a really nice metaphor for App Engine Studio and how you can kind of delegate specific aspects of it to one group of people and then let the pros kind of polish it up and finish the job. That's a nice metaphor.
One of the things that comes to mind is people often want the equivalent of a UI action. So they want a button to do something, or those drop down lists of buttons. Hey, can you do that? It's like, I didn't see anywhere from what you were browsing around in Workspace Builder that you could do that.
Oh, this is the one I was trying to remember the other one I had made. I made a little pie chart of how many from each prefecture I had tried. So Hyogo and Kyoto have a much larger amount of sample sizes. So you might want to like round it out, things like that.
We have a few minutes left. Are you done?
I think, I don't really know what to show as long as all of my filter ideas are dashed at the moment.
It's the last part of Utah. Do we have any kind of celebration or looking forward to knowledge celebration?
That might be kind of cool.
You could ask the chat, what are you looking forward to at Knowledge at CreatorCon?
Let me switch my screens back
The
over.
ability to use variables and declarative action labels in UIB.
Very nice.
I wish I knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, you've caught a bunch of like my whole focus has never been a front end. So it was fun to explore Workspace Builder, but it's definitely a new frontier for me as well. It's a good excuse to play around with it.
All right, Lauren, what are you looking forward to at Knowledge?
Oh man, well, I would be remiss not to say I'm really excited for the builder track. So it's been really fun working with Chuck and all these amazing developers to produce this series of labs for Knowledge. They have a really fun theme that we're really proud of. So I think that's by far what I'm most excited for because I've seen how hard that team has worked. What about you, Earl?
I will plug the hackathon. So if you go to devlink.sn/hackathon, you'll see everything. We have pre-prepared categories. We have categories that will only be revealed at the event. We have our judges revealed, so they're on the blog now, or on that website now if you want to check it out. But what people don't realize is that last year we didn't have a hackathon because we were all over the place. We were all four locations around the world. The years before that, it was all online, and those went fairly well. But by the end of the pandemic, people were pretty burned out with online events, online hackathons, and stuff like that. So we haven't had an in-person hackathon since 2019. So it's been a long time. So this is the first time it's coming back, and some silly person decided to give me the keys to the hackathon while I was away on leave, and I came back. I was like, "Hey, Earl, you're running the hackathon." I was like, "I've never run a hackathon before." Like, "Well, you're running it." And I'm like, "All right, cool, let's do it." But the fun part about that for me is that I've been able to make the hackathon what I think will be fun for this intended audience, the people that might be tuning into Live Coding Happy Hour, the people that are building, the people that are creating, developing on the platform, regardless of if you are a developer, an admin, or an analyst, or a designer. Like, everybody goes into building. Like, everyone can participate in that. And so this hackathon is more geared to that persona. We're wanting to see fun, cool stuff being built, as opposed to the I guess I'll tell that story. When I did my first hackathon for ServiceNow in 2018, this is where I met Chuck, actually, at that hackathon. But I came in and was like, "Oh, a hackathon, I've heard about these. I'm gonna build some fun stuff." And I started building the most ridiculous thing that I could think of, and it was like a multiplayer text-based RPG inside of a service portal chat interface in ServiceNow. I was like, "Oh, this is so fun. I'm going to make this." And then everybody else on stage, I made finalists, but every other finalist was like, "I made this app that's going to revolutionize the world. This app will save 300 people per day." This
Airline fuel. I mean, there were all kinds of great use cases.
I know, it was like, these people are like saving lives, changing the world, and I'm like, I built a video game.
That's the fun part, though.
I didn't know that we were supposed to like aim for those kind of things, and
What's
so
on the rubric? Nah.
yeah, no. So I mean, those are great things,
I
but
think we had categories that year.
Yeah,
Oh.
but we're moving the hackathon more toward, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the thing that changes the world, but you can build those things. But if you want to show, like, I can build a tool that will revolutionize the way that we do our day-to-day work, or things that are just fun or cool, like, that's equally stuff I want to make sure we're highlighting on it. So hackathon, come hang out.
I'm looking forward to the Devies.
Oh, me too. I'm so excited. We had one of our final meetings today, kind of prepping the last half of what that process will look like. And that's so exciting to see, because Chuck, like, that's like a really intimate story for like your start with ServiceNow too, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a definite hook connection that I have with the Devies. It's the return of the App of the Year award. And we're going to be presenting on stage at the CreatorCon keynote. It's like the last thing on the last keynote.
On the last day,
So
the last hour.
Right. Well, there's like another hour before the expo floor closes, and then we go over
Just
the
one,
concert.
though. Just 1 hour.
I want to see somebody at the concert like waving their Devi award in the air.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Man.
I am glad that I'm not competing anymore, because, you know, my humble little application would not stand a chance against the juggernauts of today.
Oh man, that was what was fascinating about the like applications, was the like variety. I think that was the most impressive, of like how many types of business, scales of business were using apps for like every type of like silo within those businesses. I was expecting, I was like, oh, these are going to be like a lot of ITSM stuff. And there was a couple, but mostly they were not. In fact, if anything, I would see more like HR related ones than ITSM, and a whole variety of ones I had never even thought about too. So that's really inspiring to see.
So even if, you know, you didn't have something that you've built in production, as you go forward in 2023 and into 2024, think about what you're building as possible entries for next year's contest. So it's never too early to start thinking about Knowledge 24, even though we haven't even gotten to Knowledge 23 yet.
I know.
Plan ahead.
And if you want to check out the finalists that made it to Devy's finalists, it's the latest blog entry right now. So go to devlink.sn/blog. It's the post is up. I don't know if it's been socialized yet anywhere else.
I don't think so. I didn't know. I didn't personally. I'll dox myself. I didn't know it had been posted yet. So that's fantastic.
It's there. Congratulations to the finalists.
Good to we'll socialize that right after this.
Well, I don't know who was supposed to. So
who's running this 3-ring circus anyway?
For me, my knobs just slumbering, just wakes up to like, whoa, shoot.
Yeah, who gave me the buttons to press things?
Hot dog.
Did we rate your drinks?
Oh,
that's right. We got to rate our drinks. Go ahead, Lauren.
Well, because today was a success and because Pepsi was one of my former customers, I gotta give them a 5 out of 5, man. I'd be remiss not to give them 5 out of 5.
I'm slightly disappointed you're not drinking sake for.
I'm sorry. I had it last night. So I actually had a wonderful dinner last night where I had a couple of glasses of it's called Suya Hime. It was very, very good. I would give that a 5 out of 5 if I had a bottle of it here. It's very good.
Earl?
I had the Hyde number 7 6-year-old Irish whiskey, and I will give that a 4.5. Solid, really good.
And my LaCroix, I don't even want to try and pronounce what flavor this is. It starts with a P and ends with a moose.
Oh, is it French?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Pamplemousse. Anyway, it was good. It was good. It would taste better if it was mixed with something like some stronger fruit.
Vodka.
It's sober month.
Yeah.
I give it a 4.5.
Fantastic.
So there we are. Hey, we did mention this is the end of our Utah content, but there may be more. If somebody jumped up and said, "Hey, I want to show you something neat in Utah," let us know. We not only feature our internal product managers and our products and advocates and whatnot, but oftentimes we do have people from the community jump in. And talking about thinking ahead, if you are presenting content like this, it counts towards next year's MVP awards.
Ooh, it does.
Something to think about, a little incentive for you. And I think that takes us to the end.
Keep your eye out for a Breakpoint episode coming out soon about how to survive knowledge. So that's fun, and that's coming out I think in 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see, the 19th, the 4th or 3rd or whatever it is, that first Wednesday in May.
Yeah.
Good plug. Devlink.sn/breakpoint. I beat you there, Earl. He's looking through the tags. Good. I got one.
I was like 2 seconds late. I was 2 seconds late.
Shameless plugs till the end. Oh, thank you very much, everybody who joined us live, or if you're watching later, thank you for watching. I hope you found this entertaining and educational. And we'll be back. We have a live coding happy hour at Knowledge on stage. Won't be live streamed. So if you want to see that one, if you want to see Pranav do his magic, with Lauren, with Earl, you got to be there. Just look for it on the agenda builder, favorite in the catalog right now until we get the agenda builder up on Tuesday. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Hope you all have safe travels to Knowledge.
See you soon.
Bye.